The strategies and concepts discussed are for educational purposes only and do not represent specific investment, tax, or estate planning advice. Investing carries an inherent element of risk, and it is in everyone's best interest to consult tax, legal, or an investment professional. John Cyndia is an investment advisor representative of, and advisory services are offered through USA Financial Securities, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Life Stages Advisory, Dean, and Remington are not affiliated with USA Financial Securities. Welcome to episode 53 of WTF, Wealth, Tax, and Finances. I'm your host, John Cyndia, certified public accountant, personal financial specialist. Today, we're going to talk about tax season. Tax season is upon us. We're in it. And what I want to do is address some of the things that everyone should be aware of, and that is scams, okay? We're going to touch a little bit on delays and what's taken so long with some things and get down to exactly what needs to be filed. But the first thing I wanted to address was scams. There's always something going on that somebody is trying to obtain your personal information or whatever. The first couple things I want to do is tell you that there's three things the IRS never does. I have trouble when I contact them to call me back. So they're not going to call you directly for anything, okay? They're also not going to request payments from you over the phone. So if they call you, it's probably a scam. If they say or threaten you that you need to have something paid right away and give them a credit card or a gift card, that's not the IRS, okay? They will never do anything that quickly. We're living proof of that every day. I don't know about you guys.
So the IRS only accepts Bitcoin. I'm going to keep that in mind. No cash, no checks.
No cash, credit
no gift cards,
nothing else, yeah.
Yeah, and the IRS's address is the same address that we're at right
now. No, don't listen to him. That's why he's not on here most of the time. Anyway, but yeah, the IRS will never, they can be hard to deal with, but they're never going to threaten you, okay? They're not going to just call out of the clear blue and demand money, and they're not going to show up at your door demanding money. Now, they may show up at your door after they've contacted you through 6 or 8 different times or letters or something, and you've neglected to get back to them. They could make a house visit. They've done that with some businesses that I've had for clients in the years past. And the clients called me up and I went over there and, we handled the situation. But even at that point, they're coming in there just to talk to you because you haven't responded to any of their letters or correspondence. They do not email, okay? They do not have emails. And over the last 6 to 8 months with the COVID situation, we're having trouble. They won't give out on the letters. They will not give out fax numbers. And in some cases, they don't even give out phone numbers. They will give you a general idea of what's going on, and you have to correspond and write a letter. So that is some of the stuff that leads into the delays because they have people on furloughs. They have people working out of their homes, and they just don't have access to the same files as they would if they were in the office. So everything's delayed. It just took us, I replied to the IRS on one case in January, and mid-December I finally got a letter back in response.
12 months?
12 months. So
you're welcome. We got
normally, you. Yeah. Normally if you're, we would get something done in maybe 2 to 3 months. But that is extended into 6 and 8 is just sort of normal. So you have to be patient. It's taken us in some cases more than a year to get replies and some things resolved. So they will still end up sending letters. We've had some that we know have passed in the mail, but I also saw at the end of last year, it was in the middle, I think it was the beginning of December, middle of December, I had an email that came out from one of my other sources about the federal government with the IRS that they were 5 million pieces behind of opening correspondence and mail.
That's crazy.
and 300 to 500,000 additional pieces every month are getting stacked on top of that.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they're behind. Look for delays. There is not any immediacy happening with that. And like I say, it's an unfortunate situation, but you can't make payments properly. It took them 3.5 to 4 months to credit a payment that we had in. So whenever they receive it, I don't know how they're stamping it, whatever, they're at least recording it the day they got it. They did give me credit for that because it was one of my estimated payments, but it never cleared through. So it's they give you credit for it, but it could take several months to process. So it's frustrating to say the least, and that's from the federal standpoint. But normally, you'll have your federal, state, and probably local that you'll have to file, and each one of those has its own circumstances that we have to deal with, and each one has their own particular potential scams. Okay, so I'm going to go over a few of these from the IRS of what they have been dealing with, but it's not restricted to the federal government. We've had issues on a state level. We've had a couple of clients that have, we came in and we helped them register their LLC or corporation or partnership, and then they get a letter that looks official, and it wants them to send $59.95, $135, or whatever. Some of these are things that are made up as far as like letters in good standing. We've had 3 clients get that in the last month or so. And while you can file for one, they're not just going to send something out to you. So I think this is in response to something that once they're going through the new registrations and seeing what's happening, they're just getting a letter out. And it looks official. It's not necessary. There is such a thing as a letter of good standing. I have over 30 years of doing what I'm doing here as far as a CPA and investment advisor, and I've never really had any cause for a client to have anything like that. So we don't even concern ourselves with those things. If it's not an official party or entity that we deal with from the government and know who they are, we just ignore them. So nobody's gone to jail yet, so it wasn't like a fake situation or whatever. But what I want to do is tell you about some of the scams and things. A new version of a Social Security scam. And what this does is threatens to suspend any payments you may be getting. They'll do it through robocalls, and they may end up saying, if you do not send us this back amount of taxes, it could be a couple thousand, it could be whatever the number is, saying you either have to pay it by gift card or credit card immediately, that they will start to suspend your possibly Social Security payments. This would obviously be to some older individuals that are already retired or receiving Social Security benefits. They could say that they're going to suspend pension benefits or confiscate that or whatever. It's just something to put fear into the individual to make a move that is just not warranted. And there again, it's a pure scam. Natural disasters, charitable funds. You'll see these coming out of the woodwork. Anytime you have a hurricane, tornadoes, any of the forest fires or whatever, you'll see benefits coming over, whether it's on the TV, whether it is by email, it could be on the radio. I mean, they've got them all different sorts of places, and you really don't know what's going on. They're just going to ask for money. And a lot of people have been, they'll make phone calls to you also directly, and people will do the same thing. They'll give gift cards, they'll feel bad, they'll send cash or whatever.
I saw something with that, sorry.
Yeah.
I saw something with that where they'll use like incredibly similar names to already existing charities, so you won't think anything of it. You just be like, oh, that's, you might assume it's the
American Red Cross.
Right.
Read cross. Oh, okay.
Or stuff like that. They'll use similar names or similar spelling,
Mhm.
and then they'll email you and try and get you that way too.
On the emails, that's the other thing is that when I've gotten some things, it's like it looks legitimate, and it might be like I may have sent something to you at J. Cyndia at Life Stages Advisory, but you have to look close because it says J. Cyndia at lifestages.bs dot something or other.
A bunch of numbers and letters and stuff.
Yeah, and it'll be usually at the end of it or something like that. So you really have to look into it because there's been a few times that I was almost caught up into it, because it looks so official, and it's like, yeah, I was waiting on somebody to, email me back because I had sent them something, and then I get it, and then I start looking at it, and I'm like, wait, it doesn't sound right. Or the wording, if you start to read through it, and it doesn't make sense. It almost sounds like a foreigner is trying to, that doesn't know English properly, is spelling some things out, and just the flow of the sentence doesn't make sense. I just got another thing, it was about 2 weeks ago, before the end of the year. 2020 was finishing out, and believe it or not, I got one of those Nigerian emails.
One of the 419 scams.
Yeah, I got one of those, and I'm looking at it, and it was, I don't know, it was 28,475,000, whatever.
Was
And
waiting in a bank account offshore waiting for
they
you.
needed somebody to open up a bank account, so that we could do that and help deposit, the money back into it. And I don't know how it, and we've got precautions of everything, and I still got the email through. So it's just, no matter how much you try to prevent it, something's still going to happen. And even though it may sound credible and it may look credible, trust me, it isn't. So if they are on the phone, just hang up. If it's an email, just delete it. Don't open them, because sometimes they'll have malware attached to them. And they, on the phishing scams, they will want you to click on something, and as soon as you do, they're going to come in and go after your personal information identification. Dean, didn't you say that there's some of the things that's what you guys work on, is to avoid some of that technical stuff?
Some of the stuff that I've done with school for cybersecurity just revolves around all the different types of scams and things like that. And I just always say, like, the biggest, it's the employees who are looking at your emails, the people you work with, the people you're close with, to being able to protect that data. So, like, for you, the couple people you have employed might also receive those emails, and they might not know and actually click into them, and that's what could affect your systems and actually, get personal data out into the open.
Yeah, my last job, they used to send out every month or so, they would just send emails out to just random employees that were like fake phishing attempts, but it was like just trying to keep everyone on their toes. And like, if you accidentally opened it or clicked into it and like replied or did anything with it you weren't supposed to, it immediately sent you to like a little video training course that you had to go through. And if you didn't pass it, it just kept doing it over and over until like the fact that you have to know this into your head.
They were beating it into you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Now, is that, I haven't heard it happen lately, but I think that ransomware is still around.
Oh yeah, people will still use that to make a quick dollar.
That one's terrifying though.
Yeah, those are a little bit harder to get to properly work. I think that's why a lot of people like to just do the social engineering of just getting people to send you a gift card or a
But
credit
once
card.
they do the ransomware, I mean, there's really not any way to get out of it. We had a guy that there was about 4 or 5 years ago. One of the employees opened something up on, innocently and everything, and it took over. And I mean, it was 2 weeks before we got that thing done. We were literally down and almost had to redo everything. He had to reconstruct everything we had. They were wanting, I don't know, thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I'm not paying this stuff. Well, I had to pay that to the guy to fix it.
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating. And you sit there and you go, what is in these people's minds that would want to do this stuff? But there was really no, easy fix to it. You just had to watch out. And it was something innocent because it was an email that It was like for some payroll stuff, and we were waiting on it from a client. They, it looked official and opened it up, and man, it just nailed us. And all these red screens started coming up and everything on the monitors and that. And it's like, what is going on? And it just gets in.
You owe us $50 on the minute.
Oh, it was.
This is like a funny number that they give you.
Yeah, it was
Every
crazy.
extra minute's another $50.
Yeah, and the more you wait, the worse it gets, and all this stuff. It was thousands of dollars. So it was crazy. The other thing, there's what they call a taxpayer advocate service, and this is actually not part of the IRS, but yet it is works in conjunction with the IRS. That if you need someone to help you, and you don't have anyone like myself as a CPA to be able to help you, you can call it what is called the Taxpayer Advocate Service, and they will assist you in trying to navigate whatever issue you have with the IRS. Well, now they're coming in with fake advocate numbers. So you're actually talking to a scammer, and they're saying they're going to do this, and it's like, okay, well, if you make this payment, we'll be able to turn around and help you and stuff, and that's not how that works or functions. There's other thing, what they call ghost tax preparers, that they're just basically unethical. And while I'm a CPA, you'll have enrolled agents that can practice. You'll have attorneys that will do work. There are several people that are still out there that have no credentialing, no certifications, no education, and they will actually prepare taxes. But they have several different things that they want you to do, and they may want you to say, oh, it's innocent, but what we're going to do is increase the income over here, not take some deductions to increase your income so that you can turn around and qualify for certain tax credits. And then they may turn around and say, okay, we'll be able to do this, but we'll split the tax credits with you or whatever. And the same thing will happen with some of the businesses. They'll turn around and maybe get you down to not paying any taxes or anything, and come up with fabricated expenses or anything. And it results in a larger refund that way. So there's several different ways and things that can be from a scam that you may end up having to deal with from a tax preparer. And we've encountered those over the years, that clients have come into us after a year or two being with someone like that, and they've gotten an IRS letter, and they've got a several $1,000s penalty because of something happening, and we have to help them navigate their way back through that and amend the returns and things that would not normally have to happen if they were done properly. Tax transcripts, they will turn around and say, hey, they have a tax transcript, click on this, we will send this to you, and they have malware loaded in that. So they're just trying to bait you to move into something that is going to attack your computer system. There's a couple of other things here. The IRS has gotten what they call the dirty dozen scams here. Phishing is what I was talking about originally. Some of the phone scams that they have, they'll threaten you and say that they're going to have the police coming over, deportation, license revocation, all kinds of different threats that they'll put in. And, the IRS just, ethically and legally, they can't do that, and they wouldn't do that. So that's something that should tip you off that something is amiss at that point. Identity theft, the tactics that are aimed at stealing, your identities and different things, a lot of these go in lockstep with the phishing scams and everything. Return preparer fraud, there again, you have preparers, like I said, that are trying to either take tax credits that you're not qualified to take, additional expenses or something that will inflate your tax refunds. They'll have padding the deductions would end up, putting you in a situation where you could get more of a refund. Fake charities, same situation I talked about before, especially during disasters and that. Give to the fire relief fund, do something for the people that had some of the hurricane disasters and that. where FEMA would be involved. Business credits, offshore tax avoidance, that's been around for years. It's always, give us a couple $1,000s or more, and we will come up with a tactic to put all of your money offshore, and you won't have to have any tax consequences for the rest of your life. Different types of trusts they'll talk about, all kinds of different things, and none of these are real. There are offshore tax havens, and there are certain things, but not for the average individual. You're spending lots and lots of money for people who have lots and lots of money. So it's not just a normal run-of-the-mill person is not going to be looking at any of these things. And the ones that they have are just out there to get the money out, and then you'll never hear from them again. They're, again, what they call frivolous tax arguments. Somebody is saying that they're going to take a deduction, yet they have no basis to do so. That's always something that's a little bit odd when we deal with those. Abusive tax shelters, that's the same. Another thing as far as, there's all kinds of tax credits and different things that people have or have developed or saying that, is fine with energy credits and that. There are certain things that qualify. There's a lot of things that don't qualify. So they'll turn around and generate something about some type of element that they would end up coming up with their own black box version of some new energy component that would be revolutionary. And all it is to get the money back out of you. They said they're going to invest it, and you're out thousands and thousands of dollars because you thought you were going to get a tax credit to offset it. So there's all these things that you have to watch out for, and I think this is a good time to be more aware of that. Have a legitimate tax preparer, a CPA like myself, an enrolled agent that can practice before the IRS, an attorney, anyone else, the national chains. Hopefully we'll have a lot of the individuals that are trained and qualified properly. They are now having to get different educational certifications behind them. So as long as you've got some type of, if they've got some type of education that they can, show you, certifications, any other type of legitimacy that will allow them to turn around and have for justification, and request that. Make sure that the person you're dealing with, has something that you're going to be able to, you're going to have to be able to deal with. So anyway, anything else you can?
Well, I was going to ask. You had mentioned it already. Like, just be alert, be prepared, talk to trained professionals. But who would you recommend? Like, if you have any questions, big or small, like who would you say go to first with these? Like,
well, if you don't have a tax preparer or an accountant or something, that'd probably be the first one.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Because you can look some of this stuff up online, but there again, it's on the internet. So,
right.
How true is it?
Yeah. You'd have to go to, if you want something legitimate, go to irs.gov. Whatever is in there is online. In that, I
think they have a
IRS address.
I think they have a pretty extensive, like, frequently asked questions section, just for anything about taxes or really anything.
They drill down into it. I mean, the whole IRS code is online.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you can go to the irs.gov and find out there. If you're looking for Social Security, it's sss.gov. For Social Security.
Yeah.
Those are the legitimate sites you want to go to that are going to give you the real answers and everything. But a lot of that is it's in tax code writing. Not much of it is in layman's terms. So it's something that you may have more questions after you read it than not. And you may go in for one simple, what you think is a simple question, and you can go through 45 pages of nonsense
garbage
till you get through it. So call someone up. If that's too much, just, call someone like myself or, like I said, an enrolled agent, an attorney or a CPA, and you're going to be in pretty good shape to get your questions answered. So
yeah, like you're saying, just make sure they're qualified. Definitely make sure you're checking their credentials and all that.
Yeah. It's if they're going to have an office that is only open for a few months, which isn't unusual. They've got one chair and a light bulb and
if you have
something
to go
else
down a back alley and they're
it's more of an interrogation room than it is tax preparer's office.
You probably don't want to utilize them,
right.
Or something from that standpoint. But our offices, we can't move it overnight, so it's not one of those things that we're going to be moving out of town.
It's
after
on wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a food truck, but it's just
Meals on Wheels.
Yep.
Tax
After
on
tax
wheels.
season, we go to all the fairs around the place, and we sell corn dogs or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. At least be on the lookout because, like I say, during tax season, everything's just going to get ramped up for us, and that means everything's going to get ramped up for all these scammers, and people are going to try and take advantage of just about anyone out there. So until next time, like us, love us. Jay Cindy at lifestagesadvisory.com if you have any questions or other topics you'd like us to address. You guys have anything else?
Well, YouTube channel.
Yeah, Wealth,
YouTube.
Taxes, and Finances on YouTube.com.
Yes. Okay. Until next time. Thanks.